Hello, FPL managers. Welcome back to the FPL Optimized podcast. This is episode number 118. I am Bas, the casual manager, and my co host is Sertalp, the data scientist. This is the podcast in which we combine analytics with the good old eye test. Data or grass, or data and grass? That's the question. And we are back. It feels good to be back because it's been a while. Sertalp, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I was craving some Premier League action over the
Yeah,
weekend,
me
but yeah,
too.
I watched Super Bowl. It was interesting, but
Oh,
yeah, I'm just ready for FPL to be back. To be
cool.
completely honest.
Yeah, I watched a few FA Cup games. Of course, the big surprise, Liverpool losing. I didn't watch the Super Bowl because it's just too late over here.
Mm.
And I'm not so interested to stay up for it. But I did hear a lot of my colleagues in the US talk about it. But indeed, today it's back to FPL. One game tonight because we are recording this now on Wednesday evening. The Liverpool game is about to kick off in about 10 minutes from now.
Hmm.
So it means we can't cover the game week results yet, but we wanted to record now in any case because the next deadline is already coming up on Friday. So by recording it now, it gives everyone enough time to still listen to it. So Sertalp, even though the game week isn't over yet, let's take a look at how our game weeks have been going so far.
It's not going that well, so we will
No.
see how it it's gonna change. So we have both activated the assistant manager chip, even though we
Yeah.
said we are probably gonna use the triple captain.
Yeah.
Because of the announcements and the fixture
Yeah.
changes. So despite using a chip, like being on a red arrow is obviously not ideal, but yeah, maybe
No.
after this game it will be a smaller red arrow. I don't think it will be a green arrow for me, but maybe you can recover depending on how the game goes. But yeah, I'm on 70 points. The safety point is 88. It
Okay.
means that I'm you know my rank dropped quite a bit, but yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's not the end of the world, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, no, as you said, it was a kind of a last minute strategy change because I was quite certain that I would use my triple captainship. I actually tweeted it already. I think it was Thursday morning. I said, okay, let's get it over with. Triple captainship activated. And then the news came in about the likely Liverpool double in the following game week. So yeah, that was a kind of a change of strategy. I think for me it was relatively easy as I still had the third Liverpool slot open. I was considering to get Konate, but I didn't do that transfer yet, so I could use it to go for slot. And we'll see after tonight if that was a good decision or not. Tonight is kind of the battle between the managers, I would say, because I think, probably 50-50 with the people on the AM chip. Either they went for Moyes with Everton or they went for Slot on Liverpool. So tonight decides who will be the winners of the game week. But I guess the winners of the game week are probably the people who had Wood in their team because,
That's true.
yeah, he got a lot of points, and that's also probably why we are not doing so well with our rank because we both don't have him. So yeah, for me it's on slot, and in general, so the double game week guys are doing quite well for me, the Liverpool and Everton guys, but all the rest was disappointing. I was quite hopeful because I had Newcastle, three players at home against Fulham, but then they lost. And I also had Triple Villa, but then they lost away to Wolves. So that was just, almost nothing from six players. So that's basically why my game week isn't going so well. Okay, so as we said, let's see what the Everton Liverpool game will bring tonight. But for the podcast, we'll of course look forward already to the next game week, which is again a double game week. And as I said, the deadline to fix our teams is already on Friday. So, Sertop, shall we start with the fixture ticker?
Yes, certainly.
Yes.
So Liverpool is at the top. Well, they have a double this game week, but they also have a blanking game week 29. So
Yeah.
despite that, so like all the teams have the equal number of fixtures here then. So their average is better, especially this game week. It's pretty good. It looks pretty good. 6.5 offensive point average, 5.3 defensive point average for game week 25. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting game week, obviously. If you have Liverpool players or have the assistant manager
Yes.
chip activated already. They also have Newcastle in game week 27 and Southampton in game week 28, and also Everton game in game week 30.
Yeah.
So yeah, plenty of good fixtures here. All of these are marked favorable. In the second rank, we have Arsenal. They are playing against Leicester. Defensively, it's marked as a good fixture. But every time I have a defense player playing against Leicester, like they find a way to score a goal. So I'm kind of
Yes.
scared of giving this advice. But they also play against West Ham in game week 26. That's also marked favorable. And at the end of the horizon, they play against Fulham in game week 30. That's also a favorable fixture. In the third place, we have Chelsea. Their next two are okay-ish, but they play against Southampton and Leicester back-to-back in game week 27 and game week 28. So those are marked favorable both defensively and offensively, so might be an option. And then in the fourth place, we have City. Well, their fixtures are not the best. They have Newcastle, Liverpool, Tottenham, but then they have better fixtures towards the end of this horizon. Nottingham Forest, Brighton, and Leicester. Especially the Leicester game is marked pretty nice. And in game week 29, since Liverpool is blanking, City will be an option for, obviously some people to maybe change some of their players. And in the fifth place, we have Bournemouth. They have none of the fixtures are marked, favorably, meaning they are not in the top 10%. But they have good fixtures in average. They have Southampton this game week, and towards the end of the horizon, they have Ipswich at home in game week 30. So yeah, some good fixtures, and they also play Wolves in game week 26. I forgot to mention. Then comes Manchester United. They have Ipswich in game week 27. That's an interesting game, and then we have Fulham, Brighton, Tottenham, and West Ham in order. Anything you want to add here?
Well, compared to the last time we recorded, now of course we have the blanks confirmed for game week 29, because I think last time we didn't know that yet. So I think it's Liverpool, Newcastle, Aston Villa, and Crystal Palace. So that's already good planning wise. Like for me, like I have quite a lot of Liverpool players. Two Liverpool players, three Newcastle players, and three Villa players. So I need to, if I don't want to use my free hit in 29, I need to make a transfer plan now for all those players. So, and I think that's something a lot of people will need to consider now. How do you want to navigate 29? If you want to use your free hit, then of course it's quite easy. You don't need to consider it too much. But if you don't want to use it, then of course you need to make a plan for using transfers. So that's good that we have at least a little bit of clarity for that game week. And as you said, Liverpool, it's interesting that they're on top of the chart, but they do have the blank then. So again, everyone and probably a lot of people have three Liverpool at the moment for the doubles. So again, something to consider how you want to deal with that. Arsenal is interesting because they are high on the chart, but today came the news that Havertz is injured for the rest of the season. So they have quite some injured players now. And I was just looking at a tweet. If you look at their available attackers, it's Trossard, Sterling, and Nwaneri. So that's now I think a bit of a question, like how will Arsenal perform with this with only these players available. I do think that maybe Saka is close to be back. Don't know how close though, but that's someone to keep an eye on. But I think that's definitely something also again to consider. Like even you look at the chart and you might think, oh, let's go for Arsenal, but do consider that they do have quite some injured players. Yeah, and for the rest, as you said, City, towards the end of the horizon, the fixtures are getting interesting. So I think we will see people shifting probably a little bit from Liverpool probably to City. But the City players do come at quite a high price. So yeah, that's something that also will be interesting to see how how we can make that shift happen, basically.
Yep.
All right, thanks for covering this chart. Yeah, as I said, so game week 29 is clear now with the blanks. I think we also have a little bit of a better idea now for the doubles, especially in game week 33. So yeah, what does that mean for our chip strategy? Maybe we need to come back on that again. And yeah, we said it already at the beginning. Both of us are using or have used our assistant manager chip, so that's still active now for 25 and 26. It's a little bit of a shame, I would say, right? Because this was the new chip, and everybody had some different strategies in place. But then after the announcement of the double game week in 25, a lot of people just activated it. So I think we just see now a lot of similar strategies. Then for game week 29, I would say, yeah, then as I said earlier, it's the question of whether you want to use your free hit or whether you want to just navigate it with your transfers. I will try to do the latter, and then I will try to wildcard in either 31 or 32 for the bench boost in 33. Why 33? Because that's probably the biggest double game week. And then after that is a blank, so I will use my free hit then, and probably the triple captain on in 36. And I think this is probably a popular strategy. I think also Ben Krallen tweeted this strategy. So if he tweets it, then we can be sure many people will be following it. But Sertalp, you do you have the same plan, or do you have some variation in mind?
No, I have the same plan. So like I was like looking at it from a logical point of view, and yeah, it seemed like the best idea. So like since I'm still like chasing, my rank is pretty bad. Like, and we are kind of like getting the last stage of the season. So I might actually try to do something different. Like instead of
Okay.
like wildcarding in 31, like many people will probably do. I might like still use bench boost 33. I think that will be the logical thing to do, but maybe wildcard after it. So I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, like on paper, I have the same chip plan as you
Yeah.
have. I might just pivot. So I'm a little bit upset that we weren't able to use the triple captain in 24. Because yeah, I thought it was a really good opportunity, but yeah, like
Yeah.
having 5 fixtures with the assistant manager chip was too good to
Yeah.
resist, and we both
Indeed.
had like 2 Liverpool, so we had a spot
Yeah.
open anyway. So yeah, it seemed like the
Yeah.
logical option to do.
Yeah. We had a slot for slot. Yes.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, last time we spoke, we were still preparing for game week 24, and I think everyone was still questioning, like, do you want to put triple captainship on Salah on in these difficult fixtures? And then of course he scored 2 goals in the Bournemouth game.
That's
So I
true.
think the people who did triple captain him, you know, that was also definitely a good decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those people probably also have 3 Liverpool players, so they also have then the extra points from the that third Liverpool player, depending on who it was, of course. So
Yeah. Of course.
yeah, but that's of course in hindsight. But as you said, I mean, Slot has 4 games and 2 game weeks. So I think if you look at the assistant manager chip just in isolation, then yeah, it's probably a no-brainer to use it now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Um, I do think you have some additional charts on the predicted fixtures that are coming
Mm-hmm.
up, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to explain why we are kind of thinking of bench boost 33 mainly.
Yeah.
So like, what's the logic behind it? So this is a visual from Johnny, FPL Spaceman on Twitter, or Johnny
Yes.
Curry on Blue Sky. And it is kind of like our first visual from our new website, Solio
Yeah. Just
Analytics.
wanted to say, what's that logo? Nice logo.
Yeah, yeah. This is our, like I mentioned this a few times, but we are building some like
Yes.
FPL tool, and yeah,
Yes.
we want to share some content like in coming days, weeks, and this is a visual Johnny prepared.
Nice.
So just wanted to go over some of the things here. Well, obviously doubles in Game Week 25, now we know them.
Yeah.
But average number of fixtures in Game Week 33, well, it is all depending on the results, obviously. But it is 12.94, as opposed to in Game Week 36, it will be 11.94. So there is a higher chance that we will have more doubles in Game Week 33, which makes the bench boost more, easier because, well, we will have more teams to choose from.
Yeah.
But of course, like, it will depend on which teams are actually doubling, so that the solver might be able to actually suggest maybe bench boost 36 too. But yeah, like on the paper, Game Week 33 looks like a better Game Week to bench boost. And then you can use your triple captain maybe in 36. And for 36, the triple captain option might be Haaland. If City
Yeah.
doubles, there's like a 33% of them doubling, and it might be against, Bournemouth too. The second game might be against Bournemouth too. So it might be a pretty good game week to triple captain. And I was talking with Johnny earlier about triple captain, and he said Newcastle might be a good backup. Isaac might be an option to triple captain in 36 because Newcastle has a 63% chance of doubling in that week.
Yeah.
So that as a Haaland backup in case, because that
Indeed.
fixture can go to 37. So if they do not blank, then Newcastle still has a chance to double.
Definitely. Yeah, that's also a good option.
Yeah. And the reason for free hit is kind of also visible here. Game week 29, we will have 8 fixtures expected. So Aston Villa, as you mentioned, Liverpool, 100% blanking, and Crystal Palace and Newcastle with 99% blanking. So we will probably have 8 fixtures that game week. But in game week 34, we will have in average 6.92 games, meaning that, well, more players will blank, so it will be harder to navigate in game week 34. And we know game week 29 blanks now, so that it might be easy to like navigate with the transfers as you suggested.
Yeah.
So since we know it, there's no like stochasticity in it. But game week 34, like maybe it is better to not even think about it. Just say that I will free hit in game week 34, and then the rest of the planning will be somewhat easier. So yeah, that's kind of like the logic why we are planning to free hit in 34, bench boost in 33, and maybe triple captain in 36.
Yeah, I think plus the other thing is like the 33 is the double, and quite some teams that are doubling will blank in 34
Yeah, that's
also if
true.
you look at this chart. So I think that's just really difficult then to manage those 2 weeks combined if you want to kind of optimize your team for the double and also do the same for the blank. Then of course the easiest option is always to use the free hit, I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so, and yeah, this is like another view of these like blanks and doubles. I mentioned this already, but just to see if what can happen in game week
Yeah.
33, we are likely to get like 3 doubles. That's a 48
Okay.
percent chance of getting 3 doubles, but it could be as many as 4 doubles. There's still some chance of getting 4
Yeah.
doubles. But yeah, there's also a very small chance of getting no doubles at all, but it is like 0.02%. Just to say that, well, even though like we know when doubles and blanks will happen, we don't
Right.
exactly know like how many games.
No.
Same with game week 34. We know that there will be at least 1 blank, but it's more likely that we will have 3 blanks. That chance is around 60%. In game week 36, amount of like doubles is like it's more likely around 2 with 46%. But it could be as low as 0 doubles with 3.6%. That's not that small. There is a very tiny chance that we will have 4 doubles with 2.3%. So Just to say that in
Mm,
average, game week 36 looks like it will be smaller, but yeah,
yeah.
we really don't know. And in game week 37, there's a big chance that we won't have any blanks, like with 56%. But there's still a significant chance of getting 1 or 2 blanks that game week. And, well, as you can imagine, like teams that are doubling in 36 will be blank in 37 probably. So yeah, all of this is pretty like unclear, at least at this point.
Yeah, but I like the data. It's nice. It's good. Gives a good overview of what could happen. I think it also shows that the doubles are not that big, right, compared to
Mm-hmm.
other seasons.
Yeah,
I think that's
that's
something
true.
that was already said at the start of the season, but we see it now also, like three doubles in 33, and that we call that then the big double game week. I think in previous seasons we saw, let's say, bigger double game weeks.
Yeah, since Premier League
Yeah,
now collaborating with FA to
yeah,
arrange the cup games. Well, yeah,
yeah,
it was creating more blanks, doubles for us, but
yeah,
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 it's I don't know. Like I really like doubles. They're a great opportunity for like some interesting gameplay. But yeah, this is a little bit heartbreaking to see that we are not getting that many like doubles or
yeah,
blanks, so that
yeah,
it feels pretty flat from
yeah,
one point.
yeah.
Yeah,
But still, I mean, three games means six teams that are doubling. So
sure. Yeah.
still six teams times three players. It's still 18 players potentially that you could have
Mm-hmm.
doubling. So
Yes.
still something, of course, to plan for and to yeah, try to optimize. I would say. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and while we're talking, I see that Everton went 1-0 up, so that's already a surprising start. But okay,
Yeah.
keeping an eye on that, which in a way is good for me because I don't have a Liverpool defender, but I do need Liverpool to score. But anyway, let's stay focused on our content.
Okay. Next I will talk about top players.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, we won't go into details too much, but I
Yeah,
just want to say which players in every position has the highest projected points for the next 6 game
yeah.
weeks, and also which 3 players have the best value. Because like obviously like projected points is part of the picture, but not the entire picture. Price is also an important aspect. So for the next 6 game weeks, Raya, Ellison, and Kepa are the top 3 goalkeepers in terms of projected points, with 24.3, 24.1, and 21.3 respectively. But if you just divide these projected points to their price, then
Mhm.
in terms of like the value, Kepa is actually the best here, because
Okay.
21.3 projected points, but then he's really cheap with 4.5 million, so which makes him the best value goalkeeper. And we have Sa as the second goalkeeper and Verbruggen as the third option here.
Okay.
And in terms of defenders, we have Trent at the top. Well, obviously, he's also not playing today. But yeah, he might
No.
be. I think he will be back for game week 25.
Yeah.
Despite the blank in game week 29, in terms of total projected points, he has the highest with 26.9. Then comes Gabriel at 26.7 and Saliba at 24.3. Again, if you look at the value, however, Gabriel has the best value at his
Okay.
price point. And then in the second place, we have Konate with
Mm.
21.9 projected points, but Konate is pretty cheap for the uh, for the expected value, actually 5.2 million.
Yeah.
And then we have Colville at the third place with 18.4 projected points, not that high, but he's
Mm.
very cheap.
Mm.
4.4 million, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of midfielders, well, obviously Salah has the highest projected points with 46.1. And then we have Palmer,
Mm.
42.7, and Son with 30.9 projected points.
Okay.
However, in terms of value, Dango
Uh,
from Bournemouth has the
Yeah.
best value because his projected points is 26.3, but he's pretty cheap at 5.1. And then we have Semenyo in the second rank. So
Mhm.
yeah, Bournemouth players are in general
Yeah.
are pretty good value. They have good fixtures and they are really cheap.
Yeah.
Semenyo is 28.5 projected points, actually better than Dango, but he's also a little bit more expensive,
Yeah.
5.7. And Ahmad from Manchester United, 26.5 projected points and 5.6 million, I think, if I see correctly. It's too small for
Yeah.
me to read,
A
sorry.
bit small here, yeah. Usually
Uh,
I wear my glasses, but not for the podcast. No, but Bournemouth players are, of course, a little bit talk of the town. I would say quite cheap and good fixtures coming up, and they've been doing so well in recent games.
hmm
I went for Kluivert also because he's on penalties, but yeah, I would say all of the picks are good, and we saw Semenyo scoring a penalty for the FA Cup. So yeah, good options all around.
Yep, yep, yep. Um, and then finally forwards, we have Haaland with 37.4 projected points, 28.0. Isaac has 28.0 projected points, and
Yeah,
Watkins is the third with 27.7.
yeah,
There are some other options too, by the way. They are very close in projected points, but yeah, these are the top three. And then in terms of the value, actually,
mhm.
Raul has the best value because he
Okay,
has 23.7 projected points. But yeah, he's very cheap. Same thing goes to Welbeck, 22.4 projected points. And finally, Visa at 25.3, so actually higher than these two, but again, a little bit more expensive. But yeah, pretty good value these three players provide. Anything you
yeah.
want to add here?
Not too much. This is something I will definitely take another look at because my team is fairly well set up now for with the double game week coming up. But as I said, towards game week 29, I need to make some changes because it's for the blank game week, and I suppose many people will have that situation. In my case, I have Watkins, so they still have a few good fixtures, also with the double coming up. But after that, I will likely sell him. Uh, I have Cunha in mind because maybe not right away, but their fixtures are getting better bit later on, and we know that Cunha can do really well for Wolves. So I think at one point earlier in the season, many of us had him because Wolves had quite a strange season in terms of fixtures. Right, first they started with a lot of difficult fixtures.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had a run of really good fixtures, and of course we see the same now in the second half. Currently, they're going through that patch of difficult fixtures, but the
Yeah.
good fixtures are coming up again. And I think then, yeah, we will probably go back to Cunha. Nico Jackson is also definitely still interesting for me because of the fixtures or the two games that they have with Southampton and Leicester at home in 27 and 28. So I think that could be just a nice punt for the two game weeks. And after that, yeah, as you said, a lot of value as well. Difficult to choose, right?
Yeah.
Raul at Fulham doing well, but there, of course, there is the rotation with Muniz. Well back, hopefully back fit now. So the good option at Brighton and also Wissa at Brentford. And I guess Wood is no longer there because his price went up quite a bit during the season. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, earlier on, he was also in the good value picks. But I would say, I mean, he's definitely still an option looking at the season that he's having. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So plenty of choice in summary.
Yes.
All right. I think we can move to the final data point. Or no, not the final one. Let's first, because now we looked at individual players. Let's now look at the optimal team.
Yeah, optimal team. It's a little bit difficult this time around because yeah, everyone more or less have a chip strategy, and there are lots of different strategies. I didn't want to also run it for my team because my asset to manager chip is active, so that it gets a little bit complicated. But just to give
Yeah.
an idea on like which players are actually interesting to have, I ran two things. The first one is optimal free hit 25.
Yeah,
So this is just to give an idea on like which players are good to have this game week. Obviously,
yeah.
not too many people are free hitting for obvious reasons. But if we get the optimal free hit 25, we get Martinez in the goal. Well, they're
Yeah.
doubling, and then Gabriel, Konate, Virgil in defense, Nwaneri, Trossard, Rogers, Odengo, and Salah
Mhm.
in midfield, with Salah being the captain here, and then
Mhm.
Watkins and Haaland, the forwards. And on the bench we have Valdimarsson, Castagne, Bree, and Stewart. Any comment on the free hit team before I move?
No, while you're talking, I'm just looking at the price of Noaneri. So it's 4.5.
Yeah,
That's of
he's
course
really good.
interesting now, right? And you get probably a starting attacker at Arsenal out of position in FPL as a midfielder for
Yeah,
4.5. So I can imagine that a few people are looking at that now.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think he also returned already in the game, right?
Hmm.
Let me just click on him for a second. Yeah, 6 points, a goal scored in the last game against City. Yeah, interesting option. And for the rest, yeah, as you said, Villa with the upcoming double. I have Watkins. I hope he's fit because this is, of course, a great double for him. Also, Villa made some really nice signings during the January transfer window,
Hmm.
especially in attack. Of course, also with Rashford and a few others. So I think attacking wise, Villa looks quite good. Um, but defensively, not so good. So yeah, not sure if you should go for Martinez there, to be honest. But
Yeah,
I guess the home game against Ipswich looks quite good to keep a clean sheet. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, and if you look at the wildcard 25, we actually see
Yeah.
Martinez again because he plays in the double. But yeah, the solver actually suggests keeping two playing goalkeepers, and then Kepa plays in the next game week, in game week 26 against Wolves, and then Martinez plays again against Crystal Palace in 27,
Hmm.
and then also Brentford game week 28. So yeah, so double goalkeepers here, but besides that, in defense we have Gabriel, Digne, Trent, and Konate. Um, in midfield, we have again Nwaneri, Trossard, Semenyo, Palmer, Salah. So yeah, it's dropping Dango, but keeps Semenyo, which yeah, it actually replaces Dango with Semenyo, I should say, because
Yeah.
I guess for the longer term, Semenyo is a better pick with the projected
Yeah.
points.
Okay.
And then yeah, Salah is the captain again, and among the forwards we only have Watkins playing in this game week, but
Yeah.
it Solver also picks Joe Pedro and Raul as the other forwards who
Okay.
play in future game weeks, and also Castagne is the last bench player. So it's scheduling FF transfers though. Like Watkins, for example, is only here for 2 game weeks, and then it replaces
Right.
Watkins with Nico Jackson,
Ah.
and also replaces Digne with Kukureya in game week 27. So I think Solver really likes the Chelsea fixtures
Yeah.
in that horizon. Yeah.
That's
Um.
nice because that's something I just mentioned, something I have in mind. So it doesn't often happen that I have the same plan like the solver, but selling Watkins for Jackson just for the 2 game weeks,
Yeah.
yeah, might be a plan.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, this is the optimal
Okay.
wildcard 25 team. But yeah, obviously we are assuming that you are not using any chip to navigate
No.
through 29. So it's kind of changing the structure a little bit.
Yeah. The nice thing though that you see here with Semenyo is that actually he's in the team for all the weeks.
Hmm.
So I think that's what we were talking about earlier. Why the Bournemouth picks are so interesting. Yeah, they are cheap and they also have good games. So you're not buying them now, let's say for 1 or 2 games, but you can basically just keep them in.
Yeah.
Um, so that's good. And on Waneri, so the other thing I was just thinking, I guess he will go back to the bench as soon as Saka is back in the team.
Mm.
I'm looking at FPL. It says expected back 8th of March. So that's still a few weeks to go. So could make sense still to go on that Nwaneri punt, I would say.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
interesting. All right, excellent. Thank you. Then now we can look at the final data point, which is, as always, our captaincy chart. And I guess with another double game week coming up for Liverpool, Mr. Salah is probably the number one candidate.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, that's correct. His
Yeah,
projected points for game week 25 is 15.63.
yeah,
Well, they're playing against Wolves at home and then also Aston Villa. So yeah, he's the top option in every model.
yeah.
But if you're looking for something different, Watkins is the second player with 8.8. So there's a significant drop, but
Yeah,
well, if
yeah.
you wanna take the risk. And then we have Gakpo in the third place,
Okay.
8.72. Luis Diaz, 8.37. Trent with 8.34, Ellison 8.21, and Virgil 7.76. So yeah, essentially Liverpool and Aston Villa players are dominating because of
Yeah,
the double. But yeah, I
yeah.
also
No
see
surprise.
Rodgers in the top seven, right? So towards the
Yeah,
seventh
I
pick from
mean,
Hub and Scott. Yeah.
Rogers is having an amazing season, right? Last week he
Mm.
scored in the Champions League. He also scored in the FA Cup. So just hope he will also score a few more goals now for FPL. Um, and as I said earlier, personally, of course, I hope Watkins will be fit because I still have him in the team. And of course, the first game against Ipswich, that's the most attractive game from a Villa perspective for the double game week. So yeah, let's see. All right, excellent. We covered a lot of data, and I think that's probably brings us to the end of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we'll be covering the mini league this week. Sorry for the people who are doing well in the mini league, but as the game week isn't over yet, I think it's probably not the right moment to cover the top three. But we'll do that next week. Was there anything else you wanted to cover, Sir Top, or shall we close?
Uh, just before we close, I just want to mention about the captaincy options because for the long-term captaincy, I think there was a question.
Okay.
So Salah is the top option in most game weeks in the horizon. So only exceptions are in game week 27, it's Palmer against Southampton, and Haaland in game week 29 against Brighton because well Liverpool is blanking that game week, so Haaland is the top option, and then also Palmer in game week 31 against Brentford. So besides these, Salah is the top option, so it's not that interesting to cover. But yeah, just wanted to mention because we had a question on that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thanks for still including
Hmm.
that. Okay, then yeah, that was it for today. So we'll hope that game week 24 will end positively for everyone, even though that's practically not possible. I would say that it's positive for everyone. Well, I'm on team slot. I think Sertalp is as well. So we are hoping that Liverpool will do well tonight. Just looking at it again, they did score, so now it's 1-1. And then, of course, after tonight, good luck everyone with making your decisions for the next game week, which is double game week 25. And again, don't forget that the deadline is already on Friday. We will be back with another episode next week, and you can subscribe to our podcast so you'll get notified when the next episode is out. You can follow us on X for Sertalp, it's at Sertalp Bilal, and Sertalp is also on Blue Sky. And for me, it's at Belfi BB. And keep in mind that you can also find a lot of the data and the analysis on fploptimized.com.
And until next time, stay curious and stay analytical. Goodbye.